Yo, what's going on, guys? Savage here. We've got a lot of positive feedback on my mouse and keyboard tutorials. We've done 3 so far. This one is going to be specifically on how to get better at aiming with your mouse. We can cover a keyboard topic another video. If you guys want me to discuss keybinds and things like that, please let me know in the comment section below and I can produce that video as well. When it comes to utilizing the mouse, there's a lot of tactics, a lot of techniques, and a lot of things pro gamers try to keep in the back of their head as they're practicing on a day-to-day basis, and it just becomes natural and muscle memory. And I'm gonna try to share those techniques with you guys. All right, guys, the first thing we're gonna cover in this video is probably my most asked question, whether it streams or on my YouTube channel. I get this question asked at least 5 times a night. Savage, what sensitivity and DPI do you run? Now, covering sensitivity and DPI is a pretty in-depth topic, and we're gonna be discussing this probably for the entire first half of the video. So basically, when it comes to sensitivity and DPI, you want to find a usable sensitivity for you. Everyone uses different DPI and different sensitivities. One is not better than the other. It's just based on what you want to do and how your gameplay is. Now, the first thing players do right off the bat is go for high sensitivity because they think it's going to make them flick faster and track better and this and that. When it comes to high sensitivity, it's less physically demanding because you're only using your wrist for the most part. You might move your arm side to side just a little bit, but it's mostly wrist movement, which makes it easier to get that muscle memory. Also, with the high sensitivity, it's easier to move throughout the map. You can kind of round corners faster, you're moving faster. It just makes you feel like everything's going a lot faster. However, the biggest downside to high sensitivity is it's harder to be precise. If I could go back and change everything, I would have started at a low sensitivity because I was just like everyone else. I started at a high sensitivity, a high DPI, and I played with that for years. And just recently, I've lowered my DPI drastically. I've lowered my sensitivity drastically, and my accuracy has gotten so much better. So that brings us to our next one, low sensitivity. Now, low sensitivity is better for precision and better for accuracy. It's also harder to track a target. With high sensitivity, if a target's moving around you, you just move your wrist a little bit and you can track them pretty easily. On low sensitivity, you have to take your entire arm and scroll it across the mouse pad in order to keep up with the target. Not really hard for a veteran player, but in the beginning, it's gonna become really frustrating for you guys. If you stick through the low sensitivity bullshit, it rewards you in the end. Now, when it comes to deciding if you want to have a high sensitivity and a low sensitivity, do not let the arm versus wrist movement scare you. It takes a lot of work to move your arm. When I lowered my DPI and when I lowered my sensitivity, it was a pain in the ass for the first, I'd say 6 hours. But after that first night, I didn't even feel it anymore. Not to mention, I went from winning 1 or 2 games a night in Warzone to winning about 6 to 9 games in Warzone. So my wins jumped drastically, my kills jumped drastically, my KDRs jumped drastically. I mean, literally lowering my sensitivity made a drastic improvement. When you watch these pro gamers, they're using a combination of both their wrist and their arm. You want to be able to move your arm to track and do all this stuff, but if you run on a mouse pad, you want to be able to tilt your wrist a little bit to the side and get that extra oomph if you need to track a target. Whenever I'm navigating the map, whenever I'm tracking the target, whenever I'm scanning an area, I'm always using my arm. However, whenever I'm ADS, that's when I'm basically using my wrist. Also, guys, when it comes to holding the mouse, key tip, keep your hand relaxed. A lot of players want to grip their mouse for dear life. Basically, when you tense up your hand, your range of motion is decreased drastically, which hinders your precision. Another tip, guys, when playing on mouse and keyboard is have patience. You're not going to learn mouse and keyboard overnight. Pick a sensitivity, pick a DPI, pick a game to play and stick with it for an entire night or entire 2 nights. Put some hours into it. If you're experimenting with DPI, give it a chance to set in and give your body a chance to get used to it. You want to develop the muscle memory. Don't just play a game or 2 with it and be like, oh, this sucks, I didn't get any kills, and raise your DPI, raise your sensitivity back to what it was. Also, guys, when it comes to having patience, don't shoot at the target before your crosshairs lined up. And I say this, you're probably like, duh, Savage, you wanna line up your crosshair. That's duh. When you're shooting at a target and you're wondering why he's not dying, it's probably because your crosshair is not lined up on the target. A lot of times players will just risk it for the biscuit and they'll just look at a target and start to aim at the target, and before the crosshair is actually lined up with them, they'll start firing. Yes, a lot of times you can get some lucky sprays and kill a target, but at the end of the day, the long-term effect of shooting before your crosshair is placed on the target is going to be even more drastic. You want to help your body and your eyes get better at mouse and keyboard instead of just kind of YOLOing it and shooting in the dark. What this does is it's going to help you improve accuracy over time instead of just getting lucky kills. You don't see great players or even pro players just kind of spraying and praying. They always flick on the target, and as soon as the crosshair is laid up on their face, they'll pull the trigger. All right, guys, when it comes to different programs you guys can use for aim training, there's a lot. I prefer to use Aim Labs. This is not a sponsored video. This is just the one that I prefer, but there are ones online that you can get for free as well. This one I believe is free in the Steam Marketplace. There's a lot of different techniques that I like to use to practice my precision. Spider shot is probably my favorite one to practice. So in this, you can choose what guns you want and things like that, but because I'm just trying to worry about my precision, I'm just going to go with the standard pistol. The last thing I want to do is try to practice my aim and end up getting an AR and spraying and praying. All right, so remember my sensitivity is 12, just like in Call of Duty, and my DPI is set at 400. All right, so basically when it comes to training like this, you want to try to aim your crosshair in the center of the circle. Don't just drag it and shoot as soon as it hits. You want to practice getting right here. It's just like going for a headshot. It's not about how fast you can go, guys. It's about your accuracy. It's about how often you can hit your target. Basically, when I'm doing this is I'm going really slow, and my goal is to just hit the target center mass. I want to work on my accuracy. I don't really want to focus on my reaction time right now, because your number one focus as a new PC gamer is not your reaction time. It's not how fast you can flick. It's your simple task of just hitting the target and being accurate. You don't need to practice these things 100 hours a week unless you're trying to go pro. All you need is an hour a week, 2 hours a week. As you guys can see, I'm not going really fast, but I want to go ahead and show an example to you guys. As you can see, my accuracy is 99% because I took my time. Some of these exercises will actually tell you if you're hitting it in the center or if you're hitting it on the edge and what you need to do in order to correct that. It'll recommend different training maps that you need to use, different exercises you need to use to get better in areas that you're lacking. It's a very good program. I do love this program. There's a couple more I utilize. You guys want me to do a video on just these programs, let me know in the comment section below. But as you can see, I'm not flicking anything crazy. I'm just making sure I hit my shot so my accuracy can be 100. Now, there are a lot of times where a target will go elsewhere and you'll have to readjust your wrist, and that's fine. But guys, again, you're gonna get more practice in one 60-second session than you will an entire Warzone match, because you're shooting just a lot more. Same thing with Counter-Strike, any other game that you play. This is the best way to do it. A lot of people like to warm up against bots in Call of Duty. I like to warm up in this program here. As you can see, my accuracy is 100% because I hit every damn target. All right, let's talk about tracking. As you can see right here, you have your flicking practice, you have your tracking, your speed, precision, cognition, perception, and things like that. I try to stay within these 6 right here. Different modes for different things. Guys, again, this is a really useful tool. You don't have to practice all the time. Just practicing for just 1 week will make you a better player. All right, guys, so as you can see, as I'm navigating through the map, I'm using my arm as far as like normal movement, especially when it comes to being precise, because as I'm ADS'd, all I'm using is my wrist to flick back and forth. So if I ADS on a guy like this and he moves side to side, I'm just going to use my wrist to counteract that. I'm not going to actually move my whole arm. As I was saying earlier in the video, guys, when it comes to movement side to side and navigating the map and things like that, you want to use your arm as much as possible and give your wrist a break. But whenever you're ADS on a target, you want to use your wrist to actually flick onto the target. Guys, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to check out another tips and trick video, those 2 videos will be linked right here. But guys, y'all have a good one and welcome to Mouse and Keyboard.